It's been built up as a match between Hong Kong, Australia, and when you throw in a mix of Mongolian Saturday from America, it's a truly entertaining international sprint. The Chairman's Sprint Prize coming up as the first of the two Group 1s on Sunday. It's race number 7. Field of 14 to go to battle. Here are the runners and riders. Number 1, Chautauqua for Team Hawkes and Tommy Berry, the world's best sprinter on ratings. Hong Kong's best is Aero Velocity, number 2. Gold Fun won this race last year. Penophobia comes back from Dubai. He was beaten there by Buffering. Not Listening to Me is number 6, another horse coming back from Dubai. The first of the 4-year-old brigade is Lucky Bubbles. Brett Preble has an excellent record in this race. America represented by Mongolian Saturday for Douglas White. Charles the Great is number 9. Then Super Jockey, Amazing Kids, the Wizard of Oz, his stablemate. Strathmore, one of 2 runners in the race for Tony Millard. And rounding out the field is Divine Boy, trained by Mi Choi. Before we get the word from Brent and David about this race, let's hear from some of the connections leading into it. We'll start off with the man who's got the job on Chautauqua, Tommy Berry.
Yeah, look, I don't think the barrier was really a worry for us if he drew in or out, because he's a horse that gets back anyway. There looks to be great speed in the race, and a few of the speed horses have drawn out wide. So, you know, he's a top horse. He's just got to come and prove it over here as well.
You've seen him in the morning since he's been in Hong Kong. You're happy with what you're seeing?
Yeah, look, I'm very happy. But look, I'm used to being on their back, not watching him from afar. So, I probably John was a lot happier with the work, you know, watching it, because he looks at him all the time. But no, look, he ran the time. That's all that matters to me.
Richard Goldfun, you've said to me before he's a horse that goes best when he's fresh. He's had a little bit of time off. Are you happy with his preparation going into Sunday?
Yeah, we are. You know, we can rely on him. He's been performing against the very best of Hong Kong for 3 seasons now. So, you know, we're looking forward to Sunday.
It's a cracking race.
Oh, it's a great race. It's as good a sprint as since I've been in Hong Kong. So we know it's a big task, but you know, he can perform at this level. So it's fingers crossed and running.
Tony, Penophobia, how's he recovered from his trip to Dubai?
Not a problem. He's probably, you know, he's been there and back before, and he's taken the journey very well. He hasn't lost any weight even. So I'm pretty happy with his Berry trial, and leading up to this final gallop, everything was perfect. It looks perfect to me.
He's drawn barrier 8. He'll go forward from there?
Yes, we still put on the same tactics to go straight to the front, because he's the fastest one around. And we do it exactly the same way like way Joe Morero wrote last time.
Yes, of course, Tony Cruz knows what it takes to win this race. He's won it on multiple occasions with Silent Witness going back a decade or so ago. David, we know how crucial barriers are over the 1,200 metres at Sha Tin. We had the draw on Thursday morning. Who were the winners and losers from the draw?
Well, Aero Velocity drew 14. Nobody wants barrier 14. I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. If he tries to roll forward, it may not be too much of a problem. Depends how much pace is on inside of him. Buffering in 3, they've got to be happy with that. That's a great draw for him. Yeah, Penophobia 8, Chautauqua 6, it's not much of a problem.
The Australians would be happy, 6 and 3 for Chautauqua
yeah,
and Buffering.
All smiles from the Australian connections on Thursday morning, and so there should be. I don't think Team Hawkes were too concerned where Chautauqua would draw, because he's the type of horse who races best when he's basically opting out of the start and allowing the speed to unfold. Tommy Berry did say he was glad to draw away from the inside, so he wasn't sort of stuck back in that inside section and looking to work away from that at the top of the straight. But Rob Heathcote, he's just had a smile from ear to ear since he's been here, coming from Dubai. He's got basically nothing to lose, and he comes up with gate 3. He said his only disappointment was he did have barrier 4 in his mind, and he's not too far from that. Let's start our discussion of the Aussies with Chautauqua. He was brilliant in the TJ last time. Yeah, he's proved himself as the best sprinter in Australia, no doubt with that performance, because for the past sort of 12 to 18 months, there'd been races where he'd been beaten narrowly by Terra Vista. Delectation had beaten him. But around a bend seems to be where he's most effective. And the last time he was beaten around a bend was over the 1,400 metres in the All-Age Stakes back in 2014. So it's 2015 of the All-Age Stakes, so last spring. Every time he gets around a bend at 1,200 metres in Australia, he's been quite emphatic. The times when he's been a touch vulnerable has been races up the straight 6 course or the straight 1,000 metres, where he just won the Lightning Stakes, or he was beaten in the Newmarket, or he'd been beaten in the Darley Classic. So I think where there is speed generated off races off a circle, he can just seem to build into that momentum, and then he lets go with that electrifying turn of foot. It's exciting to be here in Hong Kong with covering a horse or here covering a race where an Australian horse is so competitive at the top of the market, I think he just might be the one to fly the flag once again.
Of course, you go back to Falvelon, who was the last Aussie to win here in Hong Kong. It's been a while between drinks.
It has, and Australians like to sort of beat their chest and say we do have the best sprinters in the world, and many of the Hong Kong-based horses were bred and raised in Australia and come across here and raced at the elite level. But it's good to see an Australian trained sprinter who is here really flying the flag. And I think when you sort of draw a line through buffering, and I know it's hard to get an exact gauge on the form of sort of peniophobia and air velocity through him, through that Dubai run, but if he turns up in the form that we saw him at Randwick only weeks ago, I think you'll see something special here on Sunday.
Of course, the other Australian in the race is buffering. Brett Davis had a look back at the career of the mighty 8-year-old.
Falvelon and Morluck dives, Falvelon went ahead, he beat Morluck, what a great race.
Over the last decade, Australia has produced some of the finest sprinters to compete on the world stage. While many of them may have been blessed with more natural talent, few of them could boast the toughness and durability of Robert Heathcote's buffering. The 8-year-old returns to Hong Kong with a point to prove, after a minor injury prevented him from showing his true ability at his last trip when he finished 6th in the 2014 Hong Kong Sprint.
He suffered a hoof abscess, some 4 days before the race, and we were very, very lucky just to get him to line up in the race. And he was brave. Admittedly, he was beaten over 3 lengths and he never really threatened to win the race. But I hope that the people of Hong Kong get to see the real buffering this time, and we certainly saw that in Dubai.
That win in Dubai came in the Group 1 Al-Quoz Sprint, where the star Queenslander beat a top-class international field that included the likes of Penophobia, Not Listening to Me and Soul Power.
Buffering in front, 100 metres left to go from Penophobia. Erda Gels lunging at the end, buffering in front. Life is great in the Sunshine State, and those Queenslanders are celebrating.
It's super just to have an 8-year-old horse performing at this level, let alone performing successfully. So it's quite an extraordinary ride, and he's quite a remarkable horse because he's the last true link to the mighty Black Caviar, who arguably was Australia's greatest ever sprinter. So, you know, buffering's old enough now to be racing a progeny, funny as it would be.
The road to success at the elite level was never straightforward though for the son of Mossman. It was at his 18th run in Group 1 company that buffering finally broke through for his first major, winning the Group 1 Manikato Stakes at Moonee Valley, before going on to quickly prove that it was no fluke with his victory in the Group 1 VRC Sprint Classic. But did Heathcote ever think that perhaps a win at the highest level may elude his stable star?
Yes, we did on a number of occasions, and extraordinary that it did take 18 runs to win a Group 1, and then the celebrations were volatile to say the least. But you know, there was a huge sense of relief as well. But it shouldn't be missed the fact that many of those 18 Group 1s were against the likes of Black Caviar and Haylist and Seapoy and Sea Siren and Fox Wedge. And amazing, isn't it? 7 Group 1s now in his last 13 starts after taking 18 to win one. So, you know, he's quite a Benjamin Button, we call him around the stable.
Although buffering comes to Hong Kong on the way back from his triumphant trip to Dubai, it is fellow Aussie sprinter Chautauqua that could be his main challenger, with Heathcote conceding that the exciting grey galloper will be hard to beat.
Oh, look, on his day, he's got our measure. We've raced him a few times. We've certainly give him something to chase, and that's going to be the key to the race on Sunday. How much start Chautauqua is going to be giving the likes of buffering, peniophobia, and maybe aero velocity may race handy. Chautauqua, well, he has a mighty sprint.
Regardless of where he finishes in the Chairman's Sprint Prize, buffering's amazing journey is far from over, with Melbourne's Spring Racing Carnival next on the rising 9-year-old's agenda.
As we've seen there, Brent, he is a super horse to be at his age and doing what he's doing.
He's just a marvel, and it's great to see stories like that on this horse, and Rob Heathcote and the connections and the story, the trip that they've been on. I think on Sunday, there's no doubt he's going to be vulnerable in that last 50 metres. It'd be great to see him win. I'm not quite sure if he can.
Outside of the Australians, David, it's a pretty interesting race with the locals. Aero velocity on paper looks the one to beat from a local point of view, but he hasn't had a straightforward prep for this race.
Yeah, you'd be worried about him, given what happened in Japan with the colic coming back here. Paul O'Sullivan's been very open about the fact that they're not quite there. They probably want a couple more weeks. His last barrier trial, he didn't sparkle, just did what he had to do, but didn't seem himself. His previous run, when he won so impressively, he put the assistant trainer through the running rail. He bulldozed them to get to that fence and win, and then he tried to bite the pony on the way back. That's the aero velocity you want to see. So if we don't see that on Sunday, I'd be very cautious.
And Penafobia, Brent, he's been a very good horse here in Hong Kong, won the international sprint going back to December. Buffering did have his measure in Dubai, though.
He did, and it was interesting even just watching that sort of overhead shot there in Dubai. Buffering wasn't getting tired at the end of that 1,000 metres. It appeared as though the other horses were sort of running out of gas as well. I know 1,200-metre races can be run a touch different to 1,000-metre races, but off that performance, you'd have to be encouraged if you're in the Buffering camp to think, well, we can at least mix it with the best here in Hong Kong.
And David, one of the other intriguing elements I found for this race was the up-and-coming sprinters that we've got here in Hong Kong, the likes of the Wizard of Oz, Lucky Bubbles, amazing kids, the 4-year-olds who are rising through the ranks. Yeah,
they're very exciting young sprinters. Lucky Bubbles, his last win in the Sprint Cup, the Group 2, he really quickened away like a very good horse. He beat Amazing Kids that day. Amazing Kids, I get the impression that he's a big sprinter. He's probably still immature. As an individual, he's a strapping horse, but he's not quite there mentally. I think this might come too soon for him in terms of winning, but he'll learn a lot from it. And the Wizard of Oz, Joe Moreira's chosen to ride him. He got off Peniophobia to get on the Wizard of Oz. That in itself tells a story. He believes the horse can win a Group 1 race. Whether it's this Sunday or whether it's in the future, he doesn't quite know, but he believes he's very good. And he's very happy with Gate 9. I spoke to him after the barrier draw. He's pleased with that.
Who are you going for in the race, David?
I'm going to take a chance on Lucky Bubbles. Chautauqua, what he did in his last start was very impressive. At Sha Tin, I haven't seen many sprinters being able to come from the back of the field and sweep them up like he's going to attempt to do. If he does that, all credit to him, you know. But I'm going to take a chance on Lucky Bubbles as the one.
Brent, Australia, Hong Kong or America?
No, I'm sticking with Australia. I think I'd have my passport revoked if I stood here and said that I didn't think Chautauqua was the horse to beat. And he just seems to have the right preparation. He's come here in good order. His work on earlier in this week, Tuesday morning, was nothing sort of short of sensational. So I'm sticking with Chautauqua. But I think the big danger is Gold Fun, freshened up coming back to the 1,200 metres.
OK, so overall numbers for you?
Yeah, they're 1 Chautauqua to beat, 3 Gold Fun. I'm throwing in Buffering for 3rd and Peniophobia. Just sticking with the performance sprinters at the top level.
And David, your numbers for the race?
Yeah, I'm Lucky Bubbles 7, Chautauqua 1. Just think he might not quite get there. Peniophobia 4 and 12, the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
I don't think we can rule out Peniophobia.
No.
If he comes back from Dubai, he's proven it many times around here. He could be tough to beat.
It's going to be a fascinating race, gentlemen. Thanks so much for your insight into it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to have Brent and David along. It's been a terrific show. Hope you've enjoyed it, of course. Big day of racing coming up at Sha Tin. You can join the trackside team for all the meeting. We look forward to seeing you at Sha Tin on Sunday.